Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 165 of Peace Talk. This is the Peace Dealer. Side of my mouth might be a little numb. I just had a feeling earlier. I'm about to go back tomorrow, get the other side filled up. Shout out to, Angelito in the chat. Shout out to those of you who are just tuning in right now. Um, I think you guys are going to be very excited for our guest today and our talk today. I'm going to definitely relay some important information that we hope you be conscious of. All right. So just keep that in mind. Just going to plant a seed here today, let you know certain things. I'm kind of interested and excited because this is definitely, we're going to talk about for sure a field that I've always wanted to know a bit more about too, in a more grounded way that's not really like, mystified and jargon ridden. So without further ado, I would like to introduce to you Cosmic Origins, or rather Jayse, aka Cosmic Origins. Did I say that right? Is it JC or Jayse?
You got it. It's Jayse. Yeah.
Jayse. There we go. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Thanks for having me, man. Good to be here.
No problem, bro. And for those who might be curious, what is your sun, moon, and rising?
Oh, yeah. So my sun is Gemini Rose. My moon is Leo, and my rising is Virgo.
Okay, so you have the Virgo rising. That's what's up. So your moon is in the 12th house, give or take. And what does that feel like to you? That I always consider like the 12th house, especially moon, like misunderstood, not really kind of feeling, having those hidden talents there. But I can imagine you're receptive to a lot. It's like that transcendent light. That's what's up.
Yeah. Honestly, I should probably book a reading with you so you can tell me a little more about it.
Yeah.
You're definitely more knowledgeable than I am when it comes to astrology. But yeah, what you just said sounds pretty accurate to me.
That's what's up. Yeah, it's way deeper than that, but yeah, it's what's up. Especially knowing that you got the moon in Leo, yeah, as a Gemini. So could imagine that's really fun to have. Like you feel how to like turbo boost your ideas, say it courageously. It just feels like a fun vibration. But like being a Virgo rising, I think is dope because Virgo just as an energy or a personification is so to me, y'all are like the financial wizards, knowing the ways of the market. I consider Gemini words and Virgo numbers. So that's really dope. Especially
that resonates with me too. And I wouldn't have guessed that I would have been working in the kind of financial realms a couple years ago, but apparently that Virgo snuck in there and is
right. Straight up. I'm actually in process of. I'm probably next week or maybe late this week. I'm gonna be taking a test to get licensed to like fiduciary, that kind of thing, to kind of be an agent to serve and provide like term life insurance for people.
Nice.
So the finance the Capricorn caught me too with the finance. Would never ever really expect to do this type of thing and learn different insurances, but
right. Yeah. Snuck its way in.
Right. And where are you at? Where are you based at?
So I'm in kind of the Phoenix area of Arizona right now. I used to be in Sedona for the past 3 years, but recently moved out. Love it in Sedona, but basically had a better opportunity elsewhere. So yeah, Arizona.
I'm so grateful I got to meet both of you when I met you met you, you know what I'm saying? I got to meet two very amazing people. And it was just a really chill vibe around then too. I know that was definitely before the whole 2020 apocalypse thing, so it was just kind of a much better vibe. And how have y'all been since then?
Good, man. Yeah, you caught us back when my partner Alexis and I were living in our van and we were rolling through Vegas, and yeah, you saw that whole phase. So we did that for about a year, traveling in the van, and then ended up moving to Sedona right before the whole 2020 madness hit. So it was like perfect timing. We got just a divine opportunity that kind of was handed down to us. So yeah, last couple years has basically been like, for me, it's kind of been like grounding the, like I feel like leading up to the past couple years, I was doing a lot of upper chakra work, and the past couple years, it's been more taking that and applying it to the lower chakra, like grounding it in and kind of returning back to some of the 3D stuff to like fine tune them, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah. Which has been a huge lesson too, as far as like, which I'm not sure if every Gemini goes through this, but like it's just really easy for me to just stay in my head, and I'll forget that you're supposed to ground it. I'll just keep it up here until I remember, oh, this is actually real. Oops.
Yeah.
See, I have no like bearings. See, I don't have Virgo, so I'm just like socially retarded when it comes to like analysis and stuff, noticing cues, which I appreciate. Just to know is an environment out there, just it humbles me. But yeah, I really like how you said that, like bringing all of that from up here and bringing it down here and making it more real, which is really cool. So yeah,
Yeah.
shout out to Alexis once again.
Yeah. Shout out to Ascension Diaries.
Ascension Diaries. Yep. She's nice with the memes too. Like
Yeah, she's been grinding on the memes lately. Meme
oh
stacks,
yeah.
she calls them.
Oh yeah, she's legit, definitely. So yeah, I mean that's what's up. Being out in Arizona,
Yeah.
what do you feel about how things have shifted, especially from 2020? We definitely going through a pivot, and that's why I'm really glad to talk about a lot of what we're going to talk about, because the stance I'm taking is someone who's heard about it, dabbled in it a little bit, but pretty much don't know anything. So, you hear people, a lot of what people are saying in 2020 about crypto versus what they're saying now has drastically shifted. And I would really love to get in with you about how to maneuver this landscape and how to really see it, because you hear all sorts of like opinions. I've heard people be against XRP. I've heard people rave for XRP. Ironically, the people who actually vouch for XRP have some kind of work. Like I spoke to someone who worked for a bank, and she was just kind of like, yeah, I don't think people know, but like this is about to be really valuable. But this was like a couple of years ago, versus now that it looks like it might even be. I gifted my sister a crypto wallet, and this was like 2 years ago. I had bought 3 Ethereum back when it was like 900, and I also got a few Bitcoin, but I got 144 XRP just cause. So I told her if she wants to, because she doesn't really believe in all the crypto stuff. She doesn't really know too much about it, but I'm like, don't sell that, and if you do, give me the XRP, please.
Yeah, at least give it to me if you're gonna get rid of it.
You feel me? Like, yeah, I don't want to let that go just in case. But
Yeah.
how would you say you got into even exploring cryptocurrency and investments and stuff?
Yeah, that's a good start. So I leading I started getting into it around 2020.
Okay.
So leading up to 2020, I was actually pretty against crypto. So I think I was in a similar boat to a lot of people in kind of the conscious or awakening spiritual communities, where I saw Bitcoin and I just didn't get a good vibe about it. And I thought, oh, this is the NWO money, right? Like this is the next enslavement financial system. And I didn't know anything about it, but that's just what I assumed. And basically, I got to a point where I started receiving synchronicities from spirit, and they were particularly around this cryptocurrency called XRP, which you mentioned. So some of you guys might know that, some of you guys might not. XRP is one of the top cryptos. It's consistently been in like the top 3 to 5 for the past couple years, and it was actually bigger than Ethereum for a moment back in 2017. It was the second biggest one, right behind Bitcoin. So I basically started getting a lot of synchronicities about it, and I started paying attention. And so I was like, all right, I'm listening, right? You know, when you get so many patterns about something, you finally kind of tune in and you're like, all right, spirit, I'm listening. So I went out and I bought some XRP, and I happened to buy it right at kind of the bottom of the market because it was right March of 2020, right when all the madness hit, right? That's when all the lockdown stuff started coming out, moving in. Yeah. So the markets, all of them took a crash, and I was able to kind of get in right at the bottom of the market and make some money. So I was able to turn basically like a $5,000 initial investment into like 50,000 over the course of like the next year. So I was like, okay, there's some potential here, right?
Awesome.
And yeah, so I was like, okay, this could be actually a reasonable way to make money, make a living. And I started getting pings from like spirit or my guides that was like, you know, it's good that you got some, it's good that you listened and, you know, you went and took the action and got some, but like, you need to know why. Like, you need to learn the reason behind it, the technical, which later I would realize is so I could teach it to other people, basically. And so when I started doing the research behind it, I found that, well, for one, XRP seemed to have the most spiritual community out of any crypto, which I found interesting. Like, even compared to Bitcoin and Ethereum, there was this draw where a lot of, you know, spiritual people were feeling this call to XRP and they couldn't explain it. It was very similar to me, where it was like we felt weird about Bitcoin and Ethereum in the beginning, but then when we learned about XRP, it was like there was something else to it. And I can't tell you how many people I've talked to that felt that same way. They were like, yeah, there's something's pinging me about.
Now that you mention it, I had no reason to even buy XRP. I didn't even know about it. Like, it was just like referred to me by someone spiritual. You know what I mean? Like someone who has their foot in the bank, but still does that. So that's really interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was like watching that pattern emerge, and I'm like, okay, there's something here. If like all these people that I both know and don't know, but that are getting this same vibe and this collective kind of download around it. So when I started doing the research more on the kind of 3D technical side, I started to realize that what XRP was doing was changing the financial system from within. So kind of like a Trojan horse energy, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
As opposed to like Bitcoin, which is kind of trying to take it on, you know, face first, if you will, like, you know, kind of going head to head with the traditional financial system.
Yeah.
And I still don't really vibe with Bitcoin and Ethereum. I'll say that. Like, I have owned some here and there, but like what my research kind of took me to finding was that they're really not scalable to the masses. And this might be a controversial thing because most people who like crypto do like Bitcoin and Ethereum. So there might be people that are like, whoa, what are you talking about? But from like a, you know, perspective of like, can we make this a new currency for the people? Can this be like a new thing that everyone uses instead of Venmo or PayPal, you know, instead of fiat money? And with Bitcoin and Ethereum, they're just really slow and really expensive. So that's what I started realizing in my research. Like, Bitcoin can only do like 5 transactions per second or something, as opposed to Visa, which does like 1,500 transactions per second. So that's where like
Ripple, what does XRP?
XRP does about 1,500 plus.
And
so
is that attached to Ripple?
So yeah, so let's kind of clarify that. So XRP is the cryptocurrency itself. It's a decentralized cryptocurrency like Bitcoin. Ripple is a for-profit company that is kind of akin to being the manager of XRP.
Oh, okay.
They're like the biggest developers for XRP, and they're the ones that are really working to kind of integrate it into the existing financial system. So Ripple's basically going around to all the banks and being like, hey, you know, we have this really amazing technology. We can really expedite, you know, cross-border payments. We can expedite payments in general. We can help solve the liquidity crisis. So, you know, like there's all these run on the bank situations happening, especially in European countries where people are trying to pull their money out. and it's literally like a bank where there's just not enough money in the bank. So,
Right. It's happened
uh,
in Nigeria too.
yeah,
Yeah.
people are like burning banks down in like Libya. I think I saw.
Wow.
It's getting to the point where, you know, even the average American, we're starting to hear about this on the news more and more, the financial crisis. And to me, what Ripple is doing with XRP is going to be one of the biggest solutions to fixing this financial crisis.
Mhm.
And with that, it's going to shift the whole way that our financial system works. And long story short, create more more abundant systems that aren't meant to starve us and siphon from us, and like, you know, frankly, like the satanic systems that we've kind of been using
Mhm.
for so long. Like,
Yeah.
we're moving into a system that I think is more of like the God frequency,
That's
and
deep. Okay.
we're in the beginning stages of that transition.
So it's interesting because you said you see, unlike Bitcoin, this is like a Trojan horse from within. So it's not necessarily something that, because that's a huge thing that a lot of people are skeptical about, where you kind of mentioned it before, where the crypto could just be another way for control to occur. And that's what I started to hear about. I I felt, not because of any knowledge, but I just assumed rather that Ethereum was going to overtake Bitcoin. And now what I started to hear, not officially, but just from people talking, is that Ethereum might not really even make it as big as before. I mean, you hear all sorts of things, you know what I mean? But a lot of the zealousness and the excitement around Bitcoin and Ethereum has extremely dropped since like 2021, 2022. And I don't know what about 2022 just changed a lot of people's perception, but
I
still.
think you're hitting the nail on the head, like totally. Like, there's kind of been this disillusionment almost, and I
Yeah.
think it's because people are realizing
After
that
NFTs.
Bitcoin and Ethereum were great for pioneering the technology, but they're
Mm,
already becoming outdated. Even with, like, you know, you might have heard about the Ethereum 2.0 update that happened a couple months ago. They'd been hyping that up for years. That was going to be the update that fixed the scalability problems with Ethereum and made it cheaper, made it faster, and it
mhm.
hardly solved anything. It actually made it
Wow.
more centralized and more like it consolidated the power structure with their
Mm,
update, because they went from a proof of work to a proof of stake, and then all the top holders all of a sudden have the highest governance with this new system, basically. And this is actually connects to part of what's going to be coming out with XRP and the Ripple lawsuit. So I don't know how much you know about this,
so,
but
well, no, someone had just commented earlier. Let me see. They had said Ripple lawsuit set this June. Is that what you're talking about?
yeah,
Yeah, this
exactly.
video.
Yep.
Right.
Shout out to Angelito, by the way. He's in my Conscious Crypto program too.
Nice.
Um, Yeah, so basically 2 years ago, when XRP was really just about to take off, uh, the last day of the SEC chairman's like position, the last day he dropped this lawsuit and sued Ripple and then bounced from the company. So super shady. Yeah,
Yeah.
super shady. And he basically said the lawsuit alleges that Ripple is selling unregistered securities. So they're basically saying XRP. Sorry, excuse me, it's windy where I'm at. They're basically
That's
saying
okay.
XRP is an unregistered stock, and they're saying you guys have been
Mm,
selling unregistered stocks. They're saying it's not a currency; it's a stock in your company.
mm,
And for many reasons, it's like very tangibly not true.
mm,
And so the SEC has basically been losing this case for the past 2 years.
mm.
And we're finally at the point where the judge is ready to make a decision. All the evidence has been presented, all that kind of legal stuff, and now the judge just has to decide. And the head of Ripple, the CEO, said that it would be in the next few weeks, in basically sometime in June, that we would get that. And that's going to be, like, I think, one of the main turning points for like the price of XRP,
Mm.
because when that lawsuit ends, basically not just XRP, but all of crypto will have a legal regulatory clarity. because right now everything is like gray area up in the air as far as like what the laws are and how it's regulated in the United States. Um, every other country recognizes XRP as a currency, and the US is the only one that's trying to say it's a security.
That's shady. Yeah.
So
So
basically, when this ends, like this is going to be a pivotal point for allowing more money to flow into it, because there will be the legal green light.
especially after Biden's term, since they're definitely, I'm not going to say exactly, but I know that has a lot to do or something to do. But that's really interesting because I had created a couple coins myself using the BEP tokens, but I wanted to go back and recreate those coins, but based on Ethereum. But now I don't know why I procrastinated, but now hearing about Ethereum, I guess it was a good choice to just kind of hold off. I might keep the BEP, but might even just make some new ones because kind of like Linus said, I'm trying to get in this conscious crypto program, and we're going to talk about that because I definitely want to look into that. He also asked, what do you think of all these young crypto millionaires, billionaires ending up dead after SFP activated his agent protocol on FTX?
Yeah, that is a great question, dude. Yeah, there's been, for people that haven't heard about this, there's been a lot of shady like murders and like weird stuff going on within the crypto industry. So like CEOs of, startup crypto companies and things like that. It is, I'll just say it like this. This is we're in a spiritual war. This is the financial aspect of that spiritual war.
Yeah.
It's playing out here too. And that's why this shift that we're about to go through as a planet, there's a lot of different names that people might call it. Sometimes it gets labeled the Great Reset. Some people will say quantum financial system. Some people will say the quantum reset. There's kind of good and bad perspectives on it too. But ultimately, I think what we're heading towards is this restructuring of the financial system. And ultimately, I think it's going to be a good thing. Some people think it is that negative Great Reset, but I think there's enough evidence from what I've seen that this is going to be a positive thing for humanity. And
that's awesome.
It's going to enable like people like you and me and people watching to like be the change that we've been waiting for so long, that we've externalized from like presidents or celebrities or governments or whatever that are like going to be the savior figures. And I think that the financial restructuring is going to bring a massive amount of wealth back to the people, partially through investments in these new cryptocurrency technologies, partially through other things. But that it's going to give the money to the people, and then we're going to be the ones to actually be that change. We're going to be the catalyst ourselves.
Become our own banks, like Angelito said. I love that. That's been a huge download personally, where it's like I didn't realize we could have our own bank. We could be our own bank. I know people have wallets and stuff, and that's really dope. I mean, I saw this one ad about, which is probably not true. A lot of people are saying it's not true, but like the new GTA 6, you can actually make money in that game and bring it to the real world. And I think there's going to be so much platforms, and I think that's where we're headed to, where you can kind of integrate this virtual world and create it visually. I think that might be what this is. We just don't know. You will know, but like a lot of us just don't really know that yet. So relative to that, especially with everything you told us, because I really do feel, I'm glad you said June. I know June is bringing a great initial change, and now connected to that settlement, it makes a lot of sense. What we know that Ripple kind of manages XRP. So on top of that, there we go. So I know Ethereum and Bitcoin, what kind of gave them like credence is all the stuff that it was backed by, and what could you say with that about XRP? Because I know they're working, I think a lot of banks are working with it, but like what really makes it a awesome coin to you that you trust it?
Yeah, good question. So most cryptos are not actually backed by like say precious metals, right? So just to give some context for the people watching, like when it comes to what gives a crypto value, It's about utility is what they
Mm.
call it. So utility basically means like what can it do that gives it some kind of real world value. So for Bitcoin, the biggest utility was that it was a decentralized store of value. So the utility was that, hey, I can put my money somewhere that no bank, no government, nobody can mess with it, right? And that has value to it.
Okay.
Ethereum's utility was that they invented kind of or popularized smart contracts and DeFi. So they started bringing in like ways that you could. Smart contract basically means you can do more complex transactions than just sending money from A to B. So you can do loans, you can do interest generation, you can,
Wow.
staking, these kind of things. And then with XRP, what gives XRP its utility value is the efficiency of it. So it's super, super green. It's like 98% more energy efficient than Bitcoin or Ethereum.
Mhm.
Bitcoin, you have to do all this mining. You see
I
people
was
use.
gonna ask when you mentioned Ethereum. So I was gonna ask about mining, but that's more about Bitcoin. You can mine any coin, right?
So you can mine coins that are proof of work, which is a particular kind of blockchain protocol. So
Mm.
there's like different ways that different blockchains operate. The kind of code can be different. Proof of work means that you have actual physical computers doing the processing. So that's why you see these guys with like, giant ass warehouses and like all this stuff, spending millions of dollars building these machines. What's great about XRP is you don't have any of that. There's
Mm.
no mining. So for one, you
Mm.
get rid of all that energy and efficiency, all the power that would be sucked up through Bitcoin. Um, there's also it's extremely fast. So that's probably the biggest utility is that it's fast and it's cheap. So you can send billions of dollars, hypothetically more trillions, for fractions of a penny in fees, and it can settle in 2 to 4 seconds. So that's massive because right now, if anybody's ever done a wire transfer or transferred money from your bank to like a family member's bank or something like that, if you guys don't have the same bank, it takes 3 to 5 days for that money to show up. uh,
Mm.
because
Right, right.
on the back end of the banking system, we're using the super old, archaic cross-border payment system. So literally the fastest way to move money from the East Coast to the West Coast right now of just the US is to get on a plane and fly a bag of cash. If you're trying to move 10K, it's literally like the fastest way is to fly it. So yeah, it's ridiculous. Like the system is super outdated, basically.
Mm.
And XRP is going to be, it's basically being positioned to replace that back end system, for cross border payments, for banks, for governments, financial institutions. And so it's really the only crypto that can do that for the fees, the cheapness, and the speed that it can do it at. Like literally, the fact that you can transfer billions of dollars in a couple seconds for less than a penny is crazy. Like that's almost unfathomable. Um, so essentially, why it is a good investment. Why do people actually buy XRP? Well, it's like a
Right.
stock, right? So all cryptos are like stocks where you buy in, there's price appreciation or volatility, and you can make money from that.
Mhm.
Um, and the reason why people consider XRP to be a really good investment is because the uh, the price of XRP has to be extremely high in order for cross-border payments of billions of dollars, if not trillions per day, to go back and forth. So basically, to buy in and out of XRP multiple times a day, billions of dollars, you need a really high price because you need a high market cap, which is the market capacity. It's basically how much money is in that.
To
Uh,
buy in XRP.
yeah, so it's like right now XRP has a market cap of like some something billions of dollars, right? So that's like the representation of how much money is in all the XRP, right? Like the total crypto market cap's like 1 trillion or something like that. So it's just a representation of money.
Mhm.
But for it to work as this, bridge asset, the price of it needs to be super high so that when people move in and out billions of dollars, the price doesn't go up and down. So this is where people get estimates of XRP needing to be in the hundreds, if not thousands of dollars per coin. And for context, right now it's like 50 cents. So we're talking like 50 cents to potentially hundreds, if not thousands of dollars for this to be able to facilitate essentially all the world's money moving through it, because we're talking about like all the money on the back end moving through XRP. It's hard to fathom, but it's quite a crazy shift that's going to happen. And
Right. Okay.
for the average person, they might not see a big difference. But for those invested in it on the back end, when these things change, the people invested in it are going to see a big difference in, their portfolio sizes.
Nice. And to speak a bit more about that speed, I like how you mentioned the quickest way is to just kind of like fly it, really. So integrating this will make it so that it speeds up transactions eventually, basically.
Yeah, so like imagine being able to send, your buddy $50 from dinner or whatever, instantly with like a text message. Like say you could just text somebody $50 and they got it in their bank like instantly. That's basically what we're looking at the world being like in just a couple years.
Nice.
With what Ripple's doing with XRP. It's going to change the back end. So like the average person doesn't have to really change what they're doing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, another thing we could talk about that draws people to crypto, and a big part of the reason that I was drawn to it is the security and the sovereignty of it. So
right.
Like,
could you explain that? Could you go more into that?
You kind of touched on this earlier, but like, being your own bank is a really important thing right now, because financial sovereignty is in jeopardy. And what I mean by that is, for example, like Kanye, right? He just had his bank account shut down. Of course, he said some, controversial things, but the fact that they can go in and shut his bank account down,
and freeze it. Yeah.
Freeze it, millions of dollars. They did the same thing with the Canadian truckers when they had that rally.
I didn't know that. They froze their accounts too?
Yeah, dude. So they literally froze everything they could of these truckers. And the only thing that they could use was cryptocurrency on private wallets.
Oh, that's real. Okay. No wonder they don't like that. That you just explained it right there. So they had a way to overcome the freezing with that. Okay, that's deep.
They froze people's bank accounts. They froze their PayPal, Venmo, Cash Apps. They even froze the cryptocurrency exchanges where you buy and sell crypto.
Wow.
Because those are controlled by the government. Like the government can come in and give them, whatever legal stuff and be like, hey, freeze these accounts. So that's why, like, one of the biggest things that we focus on in my Conscious Crypto program is, even if you have crypto, moving it to a private wallet, like you mentioned earlier, because that's where you're your own bank. That's where nobody, no matter how much they dislike what you talk about or what you say or whatever, they can't take that from you, because there's basically one set of passwords to the account and only you have them and whoever you share it to. But if you don't share it with anyone, nobody can access it. So
if you forget it though, you lose it forever. That's
if you so there is a higher, responsibility.
Yeah.
It's like Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility.
Oh yeah. Like the person who had like millions of Bitcoin and forgot the password or just lost it. But someone wanted to know, do you think 2025 is expansion time?
Yeah. And what's up, Lauren? I know Lauren, actually. Shout out to you. I do think it's going to be an expansion period. I think, politically too, obviously there's a big thing coming up in 2025 with.
That's a new world order.
Yeah. I mean, astrologically, that's what you're saying, right? Like that's,
everything is changing now so that by 2025 we move forward. And that's why I love what you're saying, because I feel like the direction everything changes in depends on what's happening now, whether it's going to be positive or negative. Maybe the hidden war could be happening right now to make sure the reset is on those terms. That's why I love that you said that, because if people have that kind of perspective, then they're not leaving it up to fate, and they know that, it's current, it's happening right now.
Yep, 100%. Yep.
Yeah. And thank you for touching on that, because yeah, I gave my wallet to my sister. I'm gonna get a new wallet, but you just helped me remember why it is important to keep them in the wallet, very safe
Mhm.
there. And yeah, millions of dollars that the Canadian people raised through a GoFundMe account was stolen by the government. Wow.
Yeah.
That's just evil.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Seriously.
So that's why, like, when a couple years ago when I was starting to make YouTube videos, I was talking about, controversial things and would often get banned, right? Even for talking about like ETs, but like, of course, political stuff too. But I would
Yeah.
get strikes and videos taken down, like
They were crazy with it 2020,
like
2021. They were just
sometimes a
striking
video
everyone.
down from like 2 years ago. They'll take a video down out of nowhere from like years
Wow.
ago from me.
Yeah.
Um, but like I saw a bunch of friends of mine that were YouTubers that were talking about more of the controversial stuff, get their PayPal's banned, get their like, their donation platforms, that kind of stuff. So I was like,
Yeah.
wow, we need something that like truthers can, you know, have money and not have to be afraid of like it getting seized or frozen.
Yeah.
So that's one of the main things that I think crypto is doing right now. It's returning that financial sovereignty to
And
people.
there really is nothing they can do once it's in there privately. So that's really dope.
Yeah.
It would really just be finding people who can accept it, I guess, and liquidating. But thankfully, that's what's being built right now. And yeah, um, relative to that, and in securing that, I think it's really cool to see this transition where, do you feel eventually we won't be spending paper money anymore, like this decade or after this decade?
I think if I had to guess 5, 10 years to maybe phase out paper money, like it'll probably be an option
Oh,
for the next 5, 10 years. But if you look already, like how many people even use cash nowadays, right?
hmm.
People just opt for their digital cards, like their bank and their credit cards and stuff.
Hmm.
So I think it'll be a transition period. But I think where we're going is everything's going to be digital, but it will be in one form or another backed by physical assets. So, um, for instance, like even though XRP isn't directly backed by gold or like a precious metal, you will be able to exchange it very easily for gold or precious metals. And I think really it's going to
Hmm.
enable that for really any currency. So I think, 5, 10 years from now, everything's going to be very liquid, which means you'll be able to move currencies to currencies, whether it's gold to silver or Chinese money, British pounds, American money. It'll be really easy and cheap
Did you
to.
hear about that with Russia and China, that they're going back to back their currency on the? That's
Yes.
really interesting.
Yeah, dude. So that I'm glad you brought that up. That's actually a
Right.
big part of this. I think is
Okay.
they call it the BRICS nations. So this is Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. And now multiple other countries are petitioning to join.
Oh.
Um, but they're basically an economic alliance, and they've been around for a bit, but they're getting more like popularity and momentum now. And like you said, they just unveiled that they're going to be launching a new gold and precious metal backed reserve currency that's they're saying is going to completely replace the US dollar on an
Wow.
international level.
That's
So, we're talking about the dollar, losing its power and going away as the kind of the petrodollar and the world reserve currency. Um, there was an event called Bretton Woods that happened after World War II, where all the world superpowers got together and they decided after World War II, the U.S. dollar is the new world reserve currency. So the rumors out there in the financial world are that Bretton Woods is going to be occurring again, that they're going to be creating a new world reserve currency, and that either XRP could be this world reserve currency itself, or at the very least that it's going to be the way that all these countries trade between each other.
All the countries, like you said, acknowledge it except for the US. That's awesome. That's really
Yeah.
cool to see how they all embrace it too. To just kind of piggyback off what you said, this I don't know details about, but some people were saying that the reason why Gaddafi got, fought against was because apparently they wanted to create like an African central bank. And then they started to say he's some evil dictator. Not to say he wasn't bad or whatnot, but what do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard that too. I don't know 100%, if it's true, but
Right.
I think, Clinton, and I'm pretty sure, was super involved in all that, and obviously that's anything she touches is
Yeah. Yeah. Could you imagine her being president in some 2016? That'd be crazy.
be scary. At least with Biden, we can sit back and laugh and
Yeah.
point fun and go, okay, this is a joke, but it'd be
Yeah.
scary if it was her.
Oh yeah, she mean business. So okay, this is really dope. I love how people in the chat are really loving the information. So with that being said, what is your conscious crypto program, and what can people look forward to gaining from it?
Yeah, so basically I run a school called Conscious Crypto Academy, where we teach people all about this, and especially the technicals of like how to do it. So we walk you through setting up the whole process from the beginning to the end. If you've never bought crypto, or if you have a little bit, whatever, wherever you're at, we'll help you out, and we'll show you how to buy it. We'll show you how to do basic trading and all that kind of stuff. But most importantly, we'll show you how to transfer it and store it on a private wallet where you're your own bank. We'll show you how to use the technicals of all of it, because it can be kind of a new venture, especially if you're not the best with computers and technology. So we'll show you how to do it so you feel confident in it, you know what you're doing. My goal is that the people, after they go through the program, can turn around and explain it to other people and teach them, and it can have a ripple effect. And then we also focus on passive income. So that's a really big, cool part about this whole crypto decentralized money space as well, is that the opportunity for interest generation is off the charts. And what I mean is, compared to a normal bank, you get, now it's negative interest per year because of inflation and everything, but you normally get like 1%, 2% in the bank. With crypto, like 8 to 10% is low. That's considered like a low annual return. So the cryptocurrencies that we're working with in my program that are related to XRP, one of them right now is doing 32% annually. The other one is far over 100% annually, because it's a really prime opportunity for it right now. So all of the passive income generation is the best opportunity the earlier you get into it. So it's just something good to know for crypto. The earlier you are, the more money you can make in the passive income. So we'll show you how to do all that, how to set up the wallets, create passive income from it, trade if you want to trade, and just feel confident and secure in knowing what you're doing. And so we have a core course material that you go through at your own speed. It's intended for people with busy lives, kids, jobs. So it's to the point, it's succinct, and you can get through it, in a reasonable amount of time. And then we've got weekly coaching calls. So we meet as a group every week, and we go over the course material. We go over current stuff going on in the markets, questions that you have, all that kind of stuff. And then we have a private Telegram group where we talk every day and answer questions and do a lot of networking. So a big part of, what'd you say?
No, I said right. That's what's up. That's really what's up.
A big part of like what our goal is with Conscious Crypto, I feel like my mission right now is to help prepare people and take advantage of this opportunity, especially people in the spiritual community or people that identify as star seeds or conscious beings, I want to make sure that these people watching right now, have the best opportunity to make the biggest impact and the biggest splash with what they want to create in this new earth paradigm that we're moving into. And I think this is one of the most potent ways that we can start doing that now, is taking advantage of these things. So we're creating kind of the network that I think is going to be really important in a couple years, when this massive amount of wealth really starts to flow in through these markets and through the other stuff happening with the transitions. We want to have a solid international network that we can go to, connect with, tap into each other's resources, each other's wisdom. And that's basically what we're building. So
And I think it's very underestimated, the community that's being built. A huge thing with this whole Aquarius thing before it's mainstream are these mini communities and communities that are being built. I think that is very invaluable because, you know, especially creating this space where everyone has their own individual wallet that's not touched by the government, and we're our own bank that can give each other loans and like kind of help each other out or frozen out. It is very invaluable. I think that's a huge thing that we're coming out to work with. I've always been kind of confused about what to look out for in current events. So I think joining with that will really be awesome to do that. Lauren Bradley asked, what about Saturn and Pisces? And Saturn and Pisces is closing the cycle that started in the late 60s and then again in like the mid 90s. So I think people don't recognize that Saturn is literally closing out everything. We're seeing everything change in the world that's going to lead into a whole new direction we all move in individually. And Saturn in Aries leads into like limitations on individual freedoms and liberties, or more power and control. So I'm really glad, because I took a much more negative view, thinking the Great Reset was like really controlled by these evil people. But I forgot there is that revolutionary element that is Trojan horsing itself, like is creating that, you know, divide to where you don't have to go mainstream. You don't have to do what everyone else is doing. There are these steps that can be taken, and I'm really grateful for that, especially when we another thing I wanted to really speak on. I am going to be joining the Conscious Crypto program. I'm really looking forward to that. As someone who currently I'm doing an index life insurance plan. So basically we don't lose any money out every year when the market drops. It just kind of is indexed, but when it rises, our investment rises. So I didn't realize I'm really more interested in a program for the passive income, and apparently I'd be able to. You mentioned like transferring saved money into crypto and getting more interest. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. How does one who is currently involved in maybe securities, life insurance, and all that, what do they definitely look forward to and being a part of?
yeah, you mean like kind of what's the process of going from having
Yeah,
those places to crypto?
especially for someone who may not be aware of that or no, because like I've learned that the 401k is a scam, and the Roth IRA, they're total scams, because the market versus the index, like the index is the solution to that. So like there's a lot of these things we were taught were supposed to help, we're learning don't. So yeah,
Mhm.
like, what
Yeah.
say to someone like that?
Yeah, so a lot of people that I work with have, like you said, 401ks or some kind of retirement account, or money in the stock market, and they're trying to basically get out and get it into crypto because they realize, the traditional markets are not doing that well, and we're kind of heading towards what some might call this black swan event, is a term that's put out there often, which basically is a black swan event is like a multi-market crash, so like a very
Oh,
intense economic crash.
wow.
And we don't know for sure if that's going to happen, but um, people have been watching their retirement and their portfolios in the traditional realm kind of decline, especially since this most recent president has been in. So there are, yeah, Joel here, he's right. Yeah, there are many on ramps to enter crypto depending on where you live and who you bank with. So like one of the things we'll do if you guys join the program is we'll work with you wherever you're at and figure out like how you can on ramp based on your region, because it is different for every region. As far as those like retirement accounts and stuff, there are options in some cases where you can roll over those retirement, like your 401ks and Roth IRAs, into a crypto account. I would, recommend of maybe not doing that, because when you do those rollovers where you're going with a third party group, they maintain custody of the assets, right? And like we were saying, a big part of crypto is that sovereignty of being your own bank. So you really want to self custody your cryptocurrency and your digital assets. And
Right.
do these rollovers, they custody it. So to me, that's not optimal, even though it's, it is an option that some people may want to do. But what most people I work with end up doing is just liquidating those accounts, figuring out a way. A lot of times you pay 5, 10, 15% fee if you're under 65 and it's like a retirement fund to pull it out early. But like what I tell people is, if even if it's 15% or whatever, do you think you're going to be able to make that back, and how much more putting it into crypto?
Yeah.
And for me, it's like, yeah, the opportunity is definitely more so there. So that's basically the process we have people do, other than rolling over, is basically totally liquidate, get the money in like your bank, and then move it into crypto from there.
That's awesome. Shout out to
There, yeah, Joel, yeah.
Wow. So, one, especially what this talk inspired me to do, because I've been procrastinating a lot on this too. I felt like you have to buy crypto at like big amounts, and I didn't realize that you can pretty much like invest here and there, buy a little bit here and there, let that grow. So, I kind of want to budget some money, small money every month, just to buy XRP and just kind of build it if I can get extra. Are there any other coins you personally vouch for, or are you just focusing on XRP?
Yeah, great question. So first off, the method you said, great like way to do it. They call that dollar cost averaging, like just putting in a little bit every month or every paycheck or whatever. That's a good way for beginners to kind of get in, instead of just dumping it all at once, buying it all at once. As far as other cryptos, so the ones that we really kind of look at in conscious crypto are the ones that are shaping and changing the financial system. So XRP does that in the way that we've already talked about, but there's others that are doing other jobs in the financial system. And one of the kind of umbrellas that you guys might hear the term is ISO 20022. And this is a new, it's called a financial messaging standard. The ISO is the International Standard Organization, so they create all these standards. But these ISO 20022 compliant cryptos, these are like XRP, Stellar XLM, which is kind of a sister.
Yeah, I got a couple of those too.
That's a really good one.
Stellar XLM, yeah. I got 5 of those. So that's a sister company of the XRP.
Kind of, yeah. It's like one of the. They have a co-creator in common. Basically, he left Ripple and went and created Stellar, and then Stellar's like a nonprofit foundation, and then they made XLM the cryptocurrency. And it's like Stellar's kind of the front end, while XRP's the back end, is a good way to think of it. XRP, like we said, is going to do all the money behind the scenes. Stellar XLM is going to do more like retail and payment stuff for like the front end.
Okay.
XDC is another one that's kind of in that family.
Okay. Tiered.
It's related. It's kind of similar to XLM and XRP, but more for Asia is where it's centered.
You said XTC?
DC.
XDC. All right.
And then the two that we focus on for passive income right now are Flare and Corium. And those are lesser known, but they're funded by Ripple. So it's like we basically follow the money. We know it's like a good group, basically.
I'm using Gemini personally to as like my trade place before I put in a wallet. I don't know if XRP is on Gemini yet, but
yeah, no, not. And this is a good. I'm glad you brought that up too, because they've delisted it from all these different platforms. So XRP is like really hard to find. You can't go get it on the
because of the lawsuit. Okay. Do you think it'll be back after?
Yeah, most likely. There is a chance that it won't be if it ends up getting regulated. There's some theories that it might end up getting regulated as something that retail can't own, which would be interesting. Meaning that people like us might not even be able to buy it in the future if it gets regulated that way, because it might be a financial instrument that
Right.
average people can't have, you know?
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see what they do if they try to take it from us.
All right, all right, and I mean, sure, we'll see, we'll see for sure. I'm gonna keep hopeful about that. Someone Global Vis wanted to know if you use bots to invest in trade and if you teach that in the training.
We don't use bots. It's something I've thought about looking into, but I haven't tried it myself. Um, yeah, but it is an interesting field, the whole AI bot,
Yeah,
thing.
I feel you on that. When I was learning to trade forex, which I still haven't mastered, I didn't never finish that, but like they did mention the use of bots, and I never really got into that. But yeah, I mean, I'm cool with that as far as like doing it manually for sure at first, and then learning how to use bots. But
Yeah.
that was a really comprehensive talk, bro. I really appreciate that. Once again, like Linus said, Stellar is good, so I'm gonna look into that and reinvesting. And before I thought you had to buy at least one full coin. I didn't know you can buy like point of a coin. So that was really awesome.
Hmm.
I have the links down below to the join the conscious crypto, and so both of those links look different though. So do they both lead to the same thing, or is one of them a bit different?
So the first one, that's the direct link to apply to join Conscious Crypto.
Okay.
The second link is just a general link to my website where people can find the other stuff I do as well. But the
Nice.
first one is the direct application. So if you guys want to join, we're going to be starting a new group of students in the next couple weeks, and that's what Michael was saying he's going to be a part of. We're going to be starting that, so you guys can apply through that link, and we'll do a free consultation call together, see if you're a good fit, and get you in the program.
Beautiful. I have your socials down here too. The Instagram for you and the consciouscrypto.info, so people can reach out to you. And I have your YouTube too. So if you guys want to subscribe to the YouTube, what kind of stuff are you putting on your YouTube right now?
Mostly this kind of stuff, talking about and preparing people for the financial shifts, and applying like a spiritual and conscious lens to it, and really understanding like kind of on an energetic level what we're going through. I also like tying it into like Space Force and SpaceX and what I'm seeing going on in those realms, because there's this kind of interconnected development. And I think that these are literally going to end up being intergalactic currencies that are used for,
That's awesome.
yeah, like interplanetary trade and things like that.
Yeah. I mean, that's just such a fascinating concept. The moment we realize there's another civilization using currency, and what's really always kind of blown my mind is they have discovered other inhabitable Earths. But have they discovered life on those Earths? Obviously, they haven't sent stuff there. So like, that's just really mind blowing to me. Like, first of all, a lot of these NASA generated images aren't real. They're just kind of, I guess, drawn. I assume they were real. I just had to learn that they were kind of like, you know what I mean? And then, your
Composites.
What was that?
They call them composites. They're like stitched together. They're like,
right. And it's like, how can you count trillions of galaxies when you can't even count to like, I mean, obviously that's some math, right? I don't know what math is going into calculating this, but it's just kind of really mind blowing. Like, obviously it's a generalization, but yeah, I mean, I would think that inhabitable Earth-like planets would have to have some kind of life there. And imagine if we're just like the most retarded civilization and everyone else is like that. Like, you guys still pay taxes or something?
you idiots. Can't believe we're still doing that.
Right? I want to make a series. It's like an Earth that's just like ours, just like a little bit more advanced. And then they're just like, oh, wow, like you guys still do all that shit. That's crazy. But that would be awesome if we can like trade stuff between like different civilizations. And do you believe the whole theory that they're like higher like level civilizations than ours?
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, like I don't know if you're familiar with like the law of one channelings,
Hmm.
but I used to be very deep into that material and like, the idea of like other dimensional and density beings and civilizations and things. I think there's definitely like higher dimensional and density civilizations, and
That's awesome.
relating it to like this, I've heard from a lot of different like channelers in the spiritual community on YouTube and stuff, channel that XRP is literally a galactic technology, like an intergalactic technology, and that it was seeded here, like the guy who invented it, that basically he channeled it knowingly or unknowingly, which
Right.
I think a lot of technology does
Yeah.
come here, like
Yeah.
Tesla, that kind of stuff.
I like
Um,
the idea that it is challenged. A seventh density coin. That's interesting.
that's fun.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us again, bro. Is there any final things you wanted to share before you
Uh, I think we hit it. I just appreciate you having me on, man. Thank you for having me on your platform, and I'm here for anyone that wants to get into this stuff and needs some help, needs a guide and a coach. Happy to help out, and I think it's a good time to look into this. Whether you get a coach or you just look into it yourself, you do the research. Like, there's some crazy stuff about to happen, and like you were saying with the Great Reset and the kind of the black pilled vibes, a lot of people can get caught up in the doom and the gloom of the
Yeah.
world, and it can get overwhelming, like seeing everything go on and wondering if there is light, like is there a light at the end of the tunnel that we're going through. And I found with crypto that it seems like this community, particularly the spiritual crypto community, it really is a light that I've seen people have as like a beacon of hope for the future, which I think is really cool. Especially after the past couple years, it's just been a lot of people feeling defeated and a little hopeless. So
Yeah.
it's something I think people can use to make themselves feel hopeful for the future and excited about what's to come.
Especially with Jupiter that's on the North Node in Taurus, that I think is going to kick off a lot of expansion and start the wave of raising a lot of these like coins or just alternative solutions to make our money. That's another thing I was going to say. Like, I feel like this is revisiting the bartering period. Like, before we had money, we were all bartering. So it's like a new way to barter,
Mm-hmm.
and to kind of bring that power back. But other than that, man, please, you guys, make sure you check out the link. The first link will have you join. The second link will give you more information, and take your time with it. There's no rush. When you're ready to join, we'll definitely create this. I look forward to creating, more of this community with you, coming into more of that information and knowledge, brother. Thank you once again
Thanks,
for
man.
shared with us. And you guys, y'all stay blessed as always. Y'all have a blessed rest of the week, if anything. And yeah, peace out.